designs. Others resemble animals like hummingbirds, spiders, and dogs. We know.
What's up, everybody? I want to thank God for waking us up today. Number one, um, well, not to sound like a jerk towards God or nothing, but I said the other day, I don't know if I posted the video or not. If I repeat myself, you just have to say I already said it, because at this point, I can't remember anything short term, and it's not because I'm like having like dementia or memory loss, or I hit my head, or like whatever, not sleeping or whatever, nothing like that. It's just because I got so much in my mind all the time that I just that kind of survivor mentality is kind of taking precedence over my short term memory. But then, like, I craft over probably 100 orders a week, or 100 orders a month. Um, Give or take, in World of Warcraft. I interact with a lot of people on different websites and platforms on there as well. Um, for some odd reason, I've been single about a year and a half now, give or take, just about. And wasn't until about recently, like the last 2 months, I haven't really been talking to like too many chicks. Yeah, now it's like this past like 2 weeks or so, especially, it's like I get a match, then I get a message, and then I get a like, and then it's just like all from different places, and it's just so weird. Because normally I never do that in person. Because like I said, I've only ever actually tried to pursue about like less than 10 women my whole life, but only like three or so, four were serious. To where like I actually tried. Not to, and it's not to sound any other way than what the truth is. So if you're saying what your truth is, like literally what happened with how you operate, that's not being. People try to make it seem like you're the way you look or what you have, or like material things, or how you look, or what. And number one, you can't help how you look. Number one, so that's just ridiculous to hold that against somebody. But if you look a certain kind of way that is, I guess, advantageous, if you want to say it like that. I don't like talking like that, but I think it's very, I just don't like doing that. But I think it's just shallow. Um, but if you and you can't help if you're born into more better of an opportunity than somebody else, but you can help, like, if you want to keep like buying material things or showing stuff off. Yeah, that's a little bit different. Um, but a lot of people think that when you start telling what's happened with you, that you're like bragging, or you're like trying to make them feel bad or whatever. It's like, no, it's not. That's not the case at all most of the time. Um, but it's just kind of weird because um, I guess you could say that I am a social butterfly. I got the gift of gab and being a people person from my family. That's just how my family is. But uh, again, I'm behind on stuff, so I'm having to multitask here. I know what I was going to say. I just was going to say it in a little bit different format than what I was planning on, because a couple of different things came in my mind. But the main thing I wanted to ask y'all is, when I say my learning disability is low to high, it's about to go into high mode right now. So, meaning that you're going to have to talk to me like in real simple, like literal terms, like a history guide for dummies. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's not an insult. It's actually a compliment. It's called a book for dummies. It's back in the 90s when there wasn't the internet, how it is now. It was like 50 megabytes per second, and it took like an hour, maybe 2 hours to download one picture. And so anyway, I can't look this stuff up because I'm not intelligent enough to even have a frame of reference on my own to even know if what I'm looking at is right. Um, but what I wanted to ask y'all is, and just so you know, I have an old soul, and for example, I was watching, instead of cartoons at night, I'd be watching like black and white shows. Like I was especially happy when I found the Addams Family, because that's my favorite entertainment family, or whatever you want to say it, is them. And Wednesday's my favorite, outside of Harley Quinn. Wednesday is easily my favorite female character, fictional character. So Harley Quinn is number one and Wednesday's second for sure. Outside of that, I don't really care about them too much. Of course, like Catwoman and Poison Ivy and all the Batman. I love all the Batman girls and stuff, but Harley and Wednesday are number one and two. But when I'm looking at the Bible, I know that there's, before the Lord was alive and then after he was crucified. Oh, but I was watching like I Love Lucy, The Munsters, I Dream of Jeannie, the Andy Griffith Show, all that kind of stuff. That's another reason why I don't really date or attempt to date younger women, is because they're just not, they've never been on my mental level. And to try to be something you're not is just not going to work. Because if you don't even know what I'm talking about, then how can you relate to me if you can't even understand where I'm coming from? Because then what's going to happen is they're going to lie, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, I'm into that. And then you watch it, and they're like, who's Herman Munster? Who's Gomez and Morticia Adams? So now I already knew you was probably fibbing something, a degree. But I don't want to all the way call you a liar. I want to give you a chance to defend yourself. And like, I don't want to be unreasonable. But then you expose yourself, and so now you got found out. And you did that. I didn't do that. So that's another reason why I've always dated older women. Not like y'all need to know all this, is just in my mind, so I wanted to say it. But the reason I bring that up subconsciously is just because there's been a lot of women, younger women asking me, kind of like between the 23 to 30 range, 30-year-old range. They're like, what's wrong with younger women? Why do you like older women? And then I had to explain it, which is annoying because clearly you can read that I like older women, as far as, you know, a wife or dating or whatever. And now friends, I don't care. I'll be friends with anybody. I don't care. I make friends all the time. I mean, unless you look like, if you're a minor and you're a girl, I'm not gonna talk to you unless you're like my family. But or if I have to sit there and think like, oh, is she old enough to be my friend? Then no, you're you know, probably not. But then I forget how young 18 actually is, and you just turned like from 17 to 18, and there's a lot of there are those women that look like they're 25 and they're 15, right? But usually you can tell, like, it's like, are you 17, you're 18, you're 19, you're 20, and she might be 20, but she might look like she's 18, or she might be 21 and look like she's 17, so, you know. But generally, I'm just saying that in general, I tend to always hang out with older people, not just women, but everybody. People like, you know, no more than, usually no less than 5 years, but usually more than 10 years older than me. It's just, and when I go to my doctor's appointments, even though I'm the youngest person in there by like 20, 30 years, I'm always, if there's a younger group there and an older group, I'm always interacting with the older group first. Like I showed an older, like a black grandma with her daughter, about genogenes, and I was like telling her my testimony. Now, normally in the black side of my lineage, that might be considered rude, but I just operate on a different wavelength in general. So I don't think about like, oh, am I offending somebody? Like, no, I'm spreading the word. So it doesn't matter if you're offended as long as you get the message. But so the point is I know a lot about a lot of things, but I don't know everything about a lot of things. And then the things that I don't know, I know a little bit about it. So like when it comes to history, I'm American, natural born, hot-blooded, proud American. Shout out to our military. Shout out to my American brothers and sisters out there. And to my American women out here, if you're, hey, I don't think so. No. She was laying down and you went and beat on her. If you do that shit again, you're going in the room. Make me do it. Get put up in the room, son. For the first time in a long time. You better leave her the hell alone. You leave baby girl alone. It's okay. You okay, baby? It's okay. I can take it. Don't you bite me. Get put up in that room here. Go get you some daggone food and water, little boy, for I bust your little head with a cotton ball. Bow. Straight to the dome. Straight to the dome. Leave her alone, little boy. It made me lose my train of thought. It's already hard enough for me to think, Joker. Oh yeah, to my fellow American women out here, that want to find you a man, whatever that may look like for you, outside of like just some random guy that you do whatever with. Which you can do, but I'm more referring to the women that are looking for a partner, like long term, married or not. I would really encourage y'all to de-Americanize yourself and deprogram yourself from the television programming. That's what it is, it's programming. And like, ask yourself, ladies, do you really want to date a man that's more feminine or effeminate than masculine? Most women don't. The same way I don't want to. I don't date women that are masculine. I never have. I want like a real woman, a natural woman. I'm not even talking. I'm not going to bring up the Bible or nothing. I'm just talking about a loving, nurturing woman, because not like why did I say unresponsible? I guess it would be unresponsible, but not any inappropriate familiar relations type thing. But I don't know what you call it, but it's like a science thing or whatever. But men will seek out a partner and a wife, especially, this is the context I'm talking about, a wife that shares traits, close traits to what they had when they were with their mother as a child, like assuming that they had a good mother. They'll would, Bam, Lauren, get that Lauren. No, they'll look for that same type of nurturing environment from their partner. Um, so I guess it's kind of like if a guy's got an abusive mom and a girl's got an abusive dad, that they'll end up with that type of person. The same way, like that, except the opposite in a good way. So, with that being the case, just be who you are, programmed to be biologically. By program, I just mean, how we're wired. Because a woman, I know a woman can't be a real nurturer of the family if she's trying to be something she's not. And a man can't, the same way I can't be a protector of the family if I'm trying to play the role of like, oh, I gotta protect, I gotta like let my wife take care of it if somebody tries to come and kill her about it. No, unless my wife's the world's strongest woman, and even then, if she were to do that, I still wouldn't have peace in my heart as a man because I feel like a hoe, I feel like a punk, like a bitch. But even then, the man in me would never allow me to let my wife do something that I'm supposed to do as a man, and it's the same way for a woman. Regardless of what y'all think. Y'all turn on the TV, you get the radio, somebody says something to you, and then you immediately go to foolishness because of what the world's saying, instead of what your mind and your spirit and what your lineage of your ancestors saying. There's a reason, like, when a baby starts crying, that the guy looks for the first woman around, even if she ain't got no kid. Like, little buddy's tripping, I don't know what to do. Handle this. Right? That's just the way of the world. It's just the way the Lord made it. I just didn't want to mention the Bible part about a man being a man, a woman being a woman. And because people try to change the role and have something be that they're not designed to be, now you're seeing like all of that independent woman stuff, all that women hitting the wall stuff that I don't care about none of that stuff, because that has no bearing on my life at all. I've operated the same way since I was little, and even like as a little kid, I would never I would never be kissing girls or holding hands with girls that were like real tomboyish. I just like natural girls, natural women. That's just how I am. I don't know about y'all, how the other men are. I mean, there are some men that like that, and that's fine. I'm not saying you're gay or nothing. I'm just saying like, generally we all like what we like, but I would say numbers wise, we have like more traditional. If you ask like any man that's married, if he would have married his wife, if she was like as manly as he is, or like either by demeanor or personality or action or some combination, I guarantee you they're all going to say no. And it's 50-50, but there's things that a man does as a husband, there's things that a wife does as a wife. And it's called a wife. A wife is a wife, a wife is a woman, a husband is a husband, and a husband is a man. It's not a wife is a man and a husband is a woman. So, and people can keep trying to change things if they want, and they think it's like being, I hate these terms because I don't use them, and because they mean literally nothing to me. I don't care what the definition says or what somebody else says. You're talking about trying to change something that's been the way it was meant to be since the beginning of time. And then you see every time you try to go and do some different stuff, it never works out. It does more harm than good. And I guess that you would call that being progressive. I mean, unless you're talking about the auto insurance, that word means nothing to me. That's about the only time I ever say that word is when I'm talking about insurance. And the only reason I did then is because I had them before. So, glad I'm awake because I woke up and I was really struggling to wake up here. But what I wanted to ask you all about is I've read all of my country's history in depth from. I'm related to George Washington on my grandma's side. My grandma was white and German, and probably maybe a couple of other backgrounds that you would say white, even though it's like European. Like when people say the white man came over and killed the Indians and took their land, and Pocahontas and John Smith, which are real people, if you don't know. If you're ignorant to that information, it's Pocahontas is real, and all that. But and Lois and Clark, I think that she had helped them too. Maybe I think, or he might have been with them. There might have been I think it was around the same time period. It might have been different people, like areas, but people said like a lot of times, like in The Shining, it says the white man's burden and guilt for killing the Native Americans. Like no, it's actually the Spaniards and Columbus. And another reason why I hate school is because they lie. Y'all don't realize that the Masonic ties and all that occult ties, that the people that write our history books and our curriculum in school are not telling the real history, especially my black ancestry. A whole lot of things were done first by my black brethren, and but taking credit for from American slave men, basically. But I looked it up, and I guess he'd be my super great granddad from like 20, 30, 40 generations removed, but he, George, Granddaddy George, I never said that before, that's wild. And I looked this up back on AOL when whatever that main ancestry thing was, it was on there. It said Muhammad Ali through marriage on my dad's side, and then George Washington on the left side, on my mom's side. So then if you see a picture of my granny, be like, yeah, I could see that. She's like super pasty. I got a picture with her, and she's way super lighter than I am. But I looked it up yesterday, and Granddaddy George did have slaves. I'm not exactly sure how the pigmentation can change from like, but maybe, I guess it would be my grandma's slaves. I don't know. See, I'm not smart with all that stuff. That's when my brain stops working. If you see me trying to explain something or ask something, I just don't, it doesn't come out quick, then I don't understand it. So you'll have to explain it, or help me out. But it's easier to do on the phone or on voice or in person, but in person is not going to be possible most of the time, but at least once I get enough people in Discord, we can have more discourse like that, or whatever. I'm still kind of sleepy, waking up. I have 2 vendettas. Oh no, that was Shadow Fang. But she might have been light-skinned too. Like, she most likely was a slave that was allowed in the house because she was light-skinned, which was a very common thing. And sometimes the darker slaves would also be allowed in, but they had to kind of just get along with the masters to a high degree, or have a high level of trust, or prove like, oh, you know, these slaves try to run away, and they snitched, and they basically got credit for that. But so it's quite possible that she could have been light-skinned too, or mixed, and maybe, I don't know nothing about all that kid stuff or science or DNA stuff, but obviously somewhere along the way the lighter pigmentation in the skin obviously took precedent. But then you see a picture of my mom and my dad, and my mom and my dad are very light-skinned, and so is my other grandma. And then somebody said that when a husband and a wife are together for so long, they start to look like each other. And like like I guess siblings, which is kind of a bizarre thing to say, but it is a real thing, I guess, because people thought that my mom and dad were sisters and that I was their little brother. So this is kind of getting into a weird territory, but this is, I'm not really saying this. This is what other people have said. So it is a little bit weird to say like that, but obviously being that we're all super light skinned, I mean, obviously I'm lighter than them by a decent margin, but that was probably the main thing that people were like, oh. But that's neither here nor there, but I look up Granddaddy George and he had slaves. And so if he didn't, then my thing probably would have read wrong. Which I'll do it again and I'll show y'all. But then my mom's dad is very dark. But he's the only one, see? So I guess it might be a numbers thing or something. I don't really know. But yeah. So I know, and because I wanted to join the service and I couldn't, and because I wanted to, and because I'm related to George Washington, the first president of the United States of America, if you don't know. But I had an even higher interest in learning everything I could about our country's history. So Britain basically ruled the world for a very long time. Some might argue that they still do, but they can't. They might do it on paper or whatever, but they can't in practice because of the pure fact that our military in the United States is the strongest that's ever been created or ever will be until Revelation, basically. So we're basically the final frontier for the pinnacle of power and like destructive power is what I mean. And I wish I didn't have to sit there and say that, but reality is reality, and that's where we live in. So, but the stuff with like before the Lord was born, or before the Lord was here on earth, and after he was crucified, and of course he rose and is in heaven with God, but and the Holy Spirit, and the apostles, the saints, those that are saved. I don't really understand, like the dead will be risen on the last day and taken up in the air with the Lord on the rapture, whenever that happens for us, but I don't understand the difference between that and, like, I know my mom and dad are saved, legitimately saved, and that they've had the time they needed to get right with God, and I praise God for that. But in my little mind, what I understand it to be is that they are with the Lord now. But then it sounds like Revelation is making it sound like, well, it's making it a little ambiguous. So it's like, are they with the Lord? Are they not with the Lord? Like, what exactly is going on with that? If one of y'all could explain that in dummy terms. But then it's like, well, how would you know that? I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is if there's something in Scripture you can point me towards that would be of use to help. Because I mean, I know they're good either way. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm just worried about, like, well, I'm not really worried about anything. I just want to know just because I want to know. Because it just confuses me, that's all. I guess I don't want to be, like, saying something about somebody's family member if it's not actually biblically accurate and stuff. And then also, aside from that, the main thing I wanted to make the video about is that there's a guy named Joe Kirby Ministries on YouTube. He's been around for a while. He was a street pastor in Britain, and then he does like a lot of great videos. I've mentioned him before, but if I can remember, I'll leave a link to his thing. If not, it's Joe Kirby Ministries. It's JOEKE or KIRBE Ministries. It may not be an E at the end, but I know it's Joe Kirby Ministries. And he's got a son now, or he did back some way back when, or something. I don't know if he's still as active as he is. I think he is, but either way, he was saying that there's some like reef, like some water-looking thing that shows that the Earth is only so many thousand years a year old. And I know that it's the ancient aliens and all that, the History Channel, all that stuff is controlled by Lucifer for the most part. There are some things that are biblically correct, but it's going to be very small, because the devil is the father of lies, and he doesn't want us to know the truth. And then the truth is universal, just like love is universal. That's why we all love babies and animals, because they are true love and reminds of our true nature. That's why we get those reactions from them, because they remind us of, oh yeah, that's actually what this is, the truth about this is. Like, we're all not evil. It's just the ones that are get the most attention, because Lucifer wants to cause division and break our spirit and make us lose faith. And just like in The Dark Knight, even Harvey Dent was in the worst situation and still wanted the best for everybody, but even he fell victim to the Joker's scheme. And that's what the devil does, is he makes people fall to his scheme, because people get distracted. That's why I don't use all those terms. Like anything that ends with the IST, or I don't care about left or right. I care about up and down, heaven or hell. My focus is to get to heaven. Just make it to the end. And I know that that's where I'm going, because God has shown me that He's got a plan for all of us, but I don't feel like until you really acknowledge the things that God didn't have to bring you through, but He did, that He has you here for a reason. Overall, it's to give Him the glory, number one, and then second, it's to of course, accept His Son, be saved, repent, share your testimony, let the Holy Spirit guide you, all those things. And then outside of that, it's just like whatever, like whatever type of job you do, or however you reach people is how you reach people. But there's a lot of people, maybe some of y'all watching, that haven't had that realization. But once you have the realization, you have a lot more peace in your heart, because you'll be like, oh, I see why this was happening bad, and this and that, and this and that. And so it'll start coming together more better. You just got to give good a chance. You got to give God a chance. So I would highly encourage you to do that. And again, it would be a disservice to me and everybody that came before me. And I don't mean just like my immediate family. I mean my whole ancestors, because you have no idea. I bet most of y'all never even thought about the type of things your ancestors had to endure to survive for you to be here, and which is things that God brought them through. Most of them didn't know who God was, probably. Well, of course they didn't know like the Bible and stuff before Moses had the tablets and all the books were written. But God was still with them, and He was still letting them know that He was there and this and that. And He would have communicated with them in a way that they could understand. It's just they didn't have the benefit of the knowledge that we have here. And so it's not just about the right nows in your life, your family. It's also about your ancestors and the people that helped them and the things they survived. And also the fact that there's people that can't have kids that have kids that are miracles, and then there's like we can't have kids type thing, and then they have kids, and then there's like a 1 in a trillion chance because of fertility or whatever. Like there's all types of things. But the reason I don't sit here and just make things like, oh, I've almost died 15 times. Oh, I had a car wreck and it almost killed me, and I've had 6 brain surgeries. I have the worst pain in the world. Well, I can say I have the worst pain in the world, but unless I let you know what it feels like, or let you hear that video where I had my first attack and almost ended everything, and I'm only here because of Joker, well then you wouldn't know how significant Joker is. So when I say Joker saved my life, then you understand. So if you don't care to go into detail because you think it's thinking too deep, then you're not thinking enough. And you're insulting the people that came before you, which you have people that do that don't have no real appreciation for the struggle and the plight that others had to go through for you to be even where you're at. That's just how I feel about that. And I can say that because I lived it. Like I said, I don't talk about nothing that I ain't lived through. That's just pure ignorance. It's like you want to write a book about being a world heavyweight champion in boxing, but you've never been a world heavyweight champion in boxing. All you do is go off of what other people's stories are, like from Uncle Muhammad or Mike Tyson or whatever. Oh, by the way, my granny said that she's got pictures with Mike and everything. She still has those. Her house burned down, and when it did, most of the memorabilia got destroyed, like the gloves and the pictures and the videos and all that Muhammad had signed and everything. And then she's gonna give me Rock's address with Muhammad's brother, my other uncle-in-law, and I'm gonna go see him because he's not doing too good. And it's been on my heart to go see him. So, and I'm gonna try to minister to him about Christianity versus being Muslim, which is not gonna be easy. And he's not all there right now anyway because he's been sick. But I'm gonna try to do something. I'm gonna have to ask the Lord to help because I don't really know how to approach that. But then also his wife is extremely watchful of him too, so it might be harder than I think it is. But I'll try to. Well, I'm not gonna try. I am gonna do something. I'm just not exactly sure how I'm gonna go about it. But I'm gonna hop off here. I don't want to talk too much, but so I've read like from the American Revolution and up, and I've watched all the videos of the wars and stuff that we have in our history and this and that, and I know the difference between the garbage history versus the real history of our country and everything. And we got a new member. Welcome, Ruby. Let me see if I can hop back on Twitch. We had 600 members. I was gone for like 2 weeks and we dropped to 600. Or we dropped to 560. I never had that many people leave the community at once. That's kind of weird. It happens. That's neither really here nor there. It's just kind of weird in a way. Why the hell did that post so many times? I hate when it does that. I don't know even do that. Whatever. Anyways, if somebody could, in as simple as terms as possible, explain to me actually I'm not wasting my time. Well, I guess I might have, no, I'm not going to do Battleground Blitz. If somebody could explain to me in simple terms as possible, like how old are, and that's what Joe Kirby was saying, is like there's a thing on Florida that a coastline that's eroded, and it says it's like only so many thousands of years old. If somebody can explain, because like 65 million years is dinosaurs, that's how old the Earth is, or that's when the dinosaurs died, but then they said the Earth's billions of years old, which I know is not biblically correct. So I'm talking about biblically correct, and also real time, real life. And I don't mean to be like not saying the Bible isn't true, because it is. I'm just saying, like, comparatively speaking, as close as to possible to, like, you know, like this and this is right in the line with when God made there be light. and made the world in 7 days. So from the time that God made the world to what is also as close to correct science-wise, how old is the Earth? Because my point is that with God making everything, He made it perfect how it was, so there was no need for anything to evolve because it was already made. So like if you make this controller and it does everything on the PlayStation right and it's perfect, you don't have to go and wait for it to like get patches and updates and this and that. There's only one controller for this system, right? Like humans, there's different models and colors and stuff, and different features, but off of principle, there's only one literal controller for that Sony made officially for that. I'm not talking about like off-brand. Let me try to hop on Twitch again. It's being weird. But if somebody can explain that, you don't have to go into like some long thing unless you want to, but just explain it in simple terms, the age of the universe, and Earth, if you want to do it together as separate. I don't know if they would be... Well, I don't know if God made the universe first and He made Earth after. I'm not really sure. I don't want to keep trying to think about that because it's going to hurt my head. But yeah, I'm going to try to go live on Twitch. If not, then I'll just be in Discord. Let me see if I got any other donation on GoFundMe. Not yet. Kristen Monar, thank you for the $160 and $100 donation. I really appreciate it, hon. I think you probably do follow me, but if you don't, I already thanked her on the what do you call it thing? Directly on the GoFundMe. So I thanked her on that already. But yeah, I'm gonna try to hop on Twitch here if I can, and I guess that'll kind of be about it for now. And then, oh no, he already killed him. Oh dang. Okay. I didn't realize that. But yeah, I guess that's it, guys. If you want to help support the channel, you can donate to the Cash App or GoFundMe. And I'm going on Monday or tomorrow to the neighborhood place who they helped me out with my rent before, and back in 2020 with a bunch of stuff. And the same lady Andrea that helped me before is still there, so I need to hop on that server. So I'm gonna have her help me and rock it out like that, and then so I'm gonna stay up all from now until tomorrow morning, and right when they open at 8 o'clock, I'm gonna make my appointment, and I already let my landlady know. So and then what they do is they put in like a thing to prevent eviction, and then they help get the rent or whatnot taken care of. Let me see if I can get on Twitch here. It's saying it's letting me go live, but then it's like it's saying the stream has started, but then it's saying that I'm not live either. But Twitch has been acting up, so oh, it says I'm live. Okay, let me check my mic. Mic check. Okay. All right, I'm on Twitch, y'all. So I'm gonna upload this video. I got some other videos I'm gonna upload with the cats, and I'm out. Throw a like, throw a follow, hit all the buttons, and for the new people that subscribed, I appreciate it, and I'm gonna holler at y'all.